We have on the phone now, we have Raheel Kuruvilla, Black and Asian Stroke Survivor Project Officer for Different Strokes. Because just before we get into the conversation, in 2021, Different Strokes launched their Black and Asian Stroke Survivors project after learning that Black and South Asian people are at greater risk of stroke, and that Black people are twice as likely to have a stroke than white people, and that Black and South Asian people have a stroke at a younger age. Goodness gracious, Rahael, those are amazing statistics, aren't they, Rahael? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Hi, well, thanks so much for having me. And yeah, that's all part of our, that's why these statistics are why we launched our BAS, Black and Asian Stroke Survivor Project. And just as the statistics you said, if you identify as Black or South Asian, you are at higher risk of stroke and more likely to have one at a younger age. So my charity Different Strokes has now launched this project to raise awareness of the fact that Black and South Asian people are more vulnerable to stroke, and to enhance our support services.
Has this been known for a long time, Rahael?
No, this is all quite new, and I think the biggest problem is that not enough people are aware of this. And within our project, we've sort of launched, we have a focus group of Black and South Asian survivors.
Yeah.
And with them, we've identified 4 key barriers that Black and South Asian stroke survivors face. So we first found that there's a lack of awareness of the high risk of stroke. We've also realized that there's not enough information provided in hospitals and the media. Relating to the media, we also found that there's a lack of representation and not enough Black or brown faces in stroke awareness campaigns. And finally, probably the biggest barrier we found is that there are several cultural and social barriers and attitudes towards stroke and disabilities associated to it. So what we're trying to do as a charity is sort of tackle these barriers head on and find a way to improve the lives of all survivors.
So I guess the whole point about the charity, Different Strokes, is that you're trying to raise awareness in parts of this particular community, but also with the medical as well. Is that right?
Yes. So it's everyone across the board, and I think Different Strokes works to raise awareness of the fact that, in fact, 1 in 4 strokes happen to people of working age. So our BAS project focuses, I guess, on ethnicity and stroke, but the rest of my team work on supporting and raising awareness of younger stroke, because so often stroke is associated with the elderly, and so much of our work is to provide support to younger survivors that are struggling to return to work after stroke, or are, dealing with relationship issues or physical disabilities.
I know June's here. She wants to ask something. So
it was right about what you've just said there, Rahel. It's this idea. I mean, to me, my first thought, if the word stroke comes up, is older people, and so I think you've got a huge hill to climb on that one, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And so many of our beneficiaries had ended up going to hospital with stroke symptoms, and they were turned away by hospital
because they were not seen as stroke symptoms. You couldn't possibly have them. You're too young. Is that it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they were told. You're too young to have a stroke. You're fine. Just go home. Just sleep it off. It's a headache. And it's such a scary thing to realize that so many young people are turned away because of this. And I think part of my BAS work and part of our charity work is to raise awareness of the key stroke symptoms. And that's, I guess, what the NHS campaigns to spread awareness of, and that is to act fast and spot the signs of stroke.
And that you should be looking for those symptoms not just in your elderly father or mother, but maybe in your sisters, brothers, children. Yeah.
Absolutely. So FAST stands for face, arms, speech, and time. So the F standing for face. You need to check if one side of the face is drooping. Then you should check the A for arms. Is there weakness on one side of the arms or legs? Then you should check the S for speech. Is the speech suddenly slurred or incomprehensible? And finally, if you notice most or all of these signs, it's really important you act on the T for time, which means you need to get help and call 999 immediately.
Fast.
That's really, really good practical advice there, Rahael. Thank you so much for that. So, again, that's F for face. Is one side of the face drooping? A for arms. Is there weakness on one side of the arms or legs? And then S for speech. Is speech suddenly slurred or incomprehensible? And then I think you mentioned one final one, which is T, time, which means maybe you should be calling 999. Is that right?
Yes, that's absolutely right.
Great
I also want
stuff.
to highlight that there are other symptoms of stroke, which means, some people get really strong and severe headaches. They also have vision problems or loss of balance. And these are sort of all additional symptoms, but I think the NHS wants people to know to act fast, face, speech, time. And, the other symptoms are sort of additional symptoms people experiencing stroke can face.
Of course, but certainly I think the message from this interview with you, Rahael, is that people shouldn't be backward. They should get straight onto it, shouldn't they? They shouldn't think, oh my goodness, is this right? They should get on with it and notice the symptoms and do something about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Right, anything else that you need to tell us whilst we've got you, Rahael?
I think that's just the key messaging, and I think I really want younger people to be aware that, anyone can be affected by stroke, and I guess especially if you identify as Black or South Asian, you are at increased risk. So please remember to act fast. Remember, if your face is drooping, if there's sudden weakness or loss of motor function in your arms or legs, if your speech is slurred and very garbled, and if you identify these signs, act on the T for time and get help.
Very good indeed. That's very sound advice. Well, look, thank you so much for being on the programme today. That's Rahael from the... By the way, we didn't ask you where people can get more information. Can they look up your charity and...
Absolutely, yeah.
How do they do that?
There are many ways. I guess the general socials being Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah.
We have a support line which anyone can call at any time, and that is you can call 0345 130 7172, or you can join our online Facebook group, which has over 7,000 survivors that sort of meet and connect, or email us at info@differentstrokes.co.uk.
Well, Raheel Kuruvilla, Black and Asian Stroke Survivor Project Officer with Different Strokes, thank you so much for being on the programme today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're
Bye.
welcome.